This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Shalom Aleichem, Bruchim Abam. We're continuing Mishna Berura Daf Hashavua. We're finishing up Siman Yud Gimel. The Ramah said at the end of Siman Yud Gimel, the end of Sif Gimel, that a talis katan that's under your begadim you do not have to remove on Shabbos if, let's say, it is pasul because of gadol kavod habriyos. The same thing would be if one of the tzitzis of talis gadol was pasul. You could put it on in shul because you could wear it without a bracha al kavod habriyos. However, only on Shabbos we're not to make tzitzis, but during the week such a situation would be aser. So the Mishna Berura says of Katan Tezayin aser ayin b'Magen Avram shemasik. Look in the Magen Avram who concludes Dema shemachmir harama b'choil, that which the Ramah is machmir during the week lo yikoi amash shekasa batchila va'afilu b'talis katan. That which the Ramah is machmir in the week is not going on what he said in the beginning, even by a talis katan. By a talis katan, if you know your tzitzis are pasul, where it's a big genai to remove it from under your clothing, you don't have to take off the talis katan. The genai gadol doicha kavod habriyos afilu iser dairaisa b'shaval tasa, because a genai gadol would be doicha even in iser dairaisa b'shaval tasa. What's the iser dairaisa here? Wearing a four-cornered garment without tzitzis. So again, let's get this clear. The Mechaber says that if you find out on Shabbos when you're in a Carmelis that your tzitzis are pasul, you don't have to take it off. Why? Gadol kavod habriyos. Why only a Carmelis? Because the chayra, if it's a rishus harabim, you cannot violate a da'iraisa because of kavod habriyos, but a drabanan you could violate. Now, the Ramah said that even a talis katan under your clothing you don't have to take off, and you could even put on lechatchila the talis that is pasul on Shabbos, because on Shabbos you're only dealing with an Issa D'Rabbanan, but during the week where you're dealing with an Issa D'Oraisa, then even though it's only b'shaval tasa, we're not gonna push off for kavod habriyos. So in other words, you could actively violate a D'Rabbanan, which is wearing a pasul talis on Shabbos, because on Shabbos there's no way to fix it, but you cannot even passively violate a da'iraisa. However, now the Mishna Berura is saying that if it's a major issue of kavod habriyos, it could even push off a da'iraisa. Ach, says the Mishna Berura, tzarich lemaher leilech lebeis, you have to quickly go home. Oy lebayish shalifnei beis hakneses, or to the house near the shul v'yafshitenu sham, and take it off there. Avshu ois beis hakneses v'ar mitzvah, even though you're in the middle of doing a mitzvah. Neishu iser Torah, because you're dealing with the da'iraisa. Avol b'Shabbos ein tzarich lemaher lotzis beis hakneses. On Shabbos, you do not have to hasten to leave the shul. Kol oidshu oisik b'mitzvah, so long as you're involved in doing a mitzvah. V'haroya b'chaveroi shenifsiku loy hatzitzis. If you see your friend that his tzitzis are snapped, lo yomer layat she'ava lebeisai, don't tell him. Dahainu shikruenu lavei lebeisai. Basically, call him to come to his house, and then there tell him to take it off. Oid kasav Magen Avram dim ein tzitzis ba'ir. If you don't have tzitzis in the city, dinoi b'choil kamay b'Shabbos. The rule during the weekday is just like Shabbos. V'huadin talis de mechuyev rak midrabanan. The same thing would be a talis, which is only obligated midrabanan. Could go in she'ula la'achar shloshim yom. Let's say a borrowed talis after 30 days, which is only chayev midrabanan. Dinoi b'chol kamay b'Shabbos. So let's see if we could get this a little bit clear. The Mechaber started off by saying that if you find out on Shabbos that your tzitzis are pasul, you don't have to take it off in a carmelis because of kavod habriyos. Then the Mishna Berura added in Katan Yod, even a talis gadol, that we don't wear it the whole day, only be'es hatfila, so there's no bizayon in taking it off. You don't have to remove it. And the Mishna Berura said a big chiddush. The reason you don't have to remove it is because of loy plug. So basically, once the Chachamim said you're allowed to wear a pasul talis, it extends to all situations, even where there's no embarrassment. And the Ramah said the same thing would be a talis katan, where even though removing it is a genai, but once it's removed, nobody will know. We still apply the rule of gadol kavod habriyos. The Ramah added a chiddush that not only are you allowed to continue wearing it, you're even allowed to put it on in the first place. Which is a very big chiddush, because now we're not even dealing with sheva al tasa, now we're dealing with kum va'aseh. You could kum va'aseh put on a pasul talis. However, the Ramah qualified that. That is only talking about on Shabbos. Why? Because on Shabbos we learned that you're not violating a doiraisa of wearing a four-cornered garment, you're only violating a d'Rabbanan. Why are you not violating a doiraisa? Because the doiraisa is, you can't wear a four-cornered garment, put tzitzis on it. On Shabbos I can't. But during the week, the Mishna Berura said, where you're over an Isser doiraisa, even b'sheva al tasa, we're not going to be doichet when they kavod habriyos. Unless, here the Mishna Berura already said on the last narrow line, unless it's a genai gadol. Unless it's a genai gadol. So here we have a very interesting idea. By genai gadol, we could violate a doiraisa. And where does that come into effect? That the Mishna Berura that we just read said that when the Ramah is machmer during the week, that's only talking about a talis katan. Excuse me, when the Ramah said that by a talis katan you could be mekel, that would apply even b'chayil, because a talis katan is actually a bigger genai than a talis gadol. Even though, by the way, the lashon of the Ramah is afilu talis katan, which implies that it's less of a genai. But here the Mishna Berura is saying that by a talis katan, you could be more lenient, that even during the week, you don't have to take it off, even though it's an Isser D'Oraisa. Even though it's an Isser D'Oraisa. Now that's because it's Sheva Al Tasa. Okay. Let's begin Siman Yudalad. Dinei Tzitzis Shasan Eini Yehudi V'Nashim V'Tal She'ula. The laws of Tzitzis that were made by a non-Jew, a pasul, are pasul. Tzitzis Shasan Eini Yehudi pasul. T'chsiv Daber El B'nei Yisrael La'afuke Eini Yehudi. Daber El B'nei Yisrael excludes a Gentile. V'ishik Shar L'Asoisan. A woman could make it. Hagav Yesh Machmirin L'Hatzrich Anoshim She'asoisam. Some are Machmir, that men have to make it. V'toiv L'Asois Kain L'Charchila. L'Charchila, you should have a man do it. So the shita of the Mechaber is El B'nei Yisrael's La'afuke a goy. A woman is okay. The Ramah is Machmir that a man has to do it. Now, I believe, who is this reason? Who says a woman cannot make tzitzis? It's Rabbeinu Tam. This is a famous shita Rabbeinu Tam. Kosha Eina Be Loisilba, anyone who is not included in wearing tzitzis cannot tie the tzitzis. So let's see the Mishna Berura. Sha'asan Peiroshi Tilim Bebeged. She put it on the garment. The goy put on the garment. Pasal afil biso oimed al gabay. Even if the Jew standing over him, lamdeo lasos lishma, is teaching him to do it lishma. Deilu im tva'an eni Yehudi oishizan, because if the goy spun it or twisted it, ba'ofen zeh kasher laharash. The Rosh would say it's kosher if a Jew puts it on the beged. K'mesh kasav elbas min yinav beis. The dafka im techavay bakanaf. Dafka if he stuck it into the corner. Oyasa achulya, or he made the first or wrapping or not. Also Yisrael. If the Jew made the first wrapping and not, and the guy finished the other wrappings and knots, so it's good. You do the beginning and you could have goyim do the rest. If you want to ship it off to China, no problem. You send one Jew to China, he does the first knot and wrapping, and then they can do the rest. Now, some are machmer lahatzruch anoshim. Va'afilu oimir al gaben lemha. It's not even going to help to stand over them. Mishum daksiv b'nei Yisrael v'asu mashma gam l'mayit b'nei Yisrael. Then applies to exclude women as well. Sheyasu oisai dafka tzliya ba'beged, putting in the garment. Aval tviya v'shzir motar yidei noshim. Women could spin and twist it. Now let's just see the Bir Halacha very quickly. The first one. Ayin Mishna Berura v'uatam shel maharam shuva bagos mamani v'lo takti atam. I didn't bring the reason. The had Rabbeinu tam v'chadis magen avam mishum dechol she'enu b'lisha eno ba'asiya. The reasoning of Rabbeinu tam is anyone who does not wear tzitzis cannot make tzitzis. This would extend to other mitzvahs as well. Lulav, sukkah, a woman can't tie a lulav, a woman can't make a sukkah. Right? And this, by the way, this is a tremendous shita, Rabbeinu Tam shita. It means your wife cannot put up your schach, your wife cannot put together your lulav and esrog. The shita Rabbeinu Tam is anyone who can perform a mitzvah cannot create the item of the mitzvah. And the reason why the Mishna Berura says, I didn't bring it, is because the Mashna Dark Maharam. Meaning, there seem to be two reasons why women can't do it. One is Rabbeinu Tam, that anyone who's not Belavisha, Eina Basiya, and the Mishna Berura did not bring down that reason of Rabbeinu Tam. The Mishna Berura didn't actually bring down any reason. Actually, the Mishna Berura brought down the reason that it's Exeris HaKosov. It says, Daber el B'nei Yisrael, V'loi B'noi Yisrael. So there are two ways to understand this halacha. Why dafka men and not women? Is it exeris hakasav, or is it a din across the board by all mitzvahs? Says Mishna Berura, I didn't even bring down Rabbeinu Tam. Why? Because it's Mash in the Darkei Moshe, he's only concerned for the Maram. And the Oilas Tamid also I found. Imkain, now, there's a very big nafkamina between Rabbeinu Tam and the Maram. If it's exeris hakasav to be mamait women, then a katan could make tzitzis. If it's because that anyone who's not chayiv in the mitzvah cannot make it, then a katan cannot. So imkain, if we're not going to take Rabbeinu Tam seriously, ein lahachmer gam katan. You don't have to be machmer by a katan. V'chein matzasi b'artzas hachayim. U'mikal makam kivan she'aprima gadim v'derech hachayim atikal halacha l'Yisrael chila idei katan roi v'nachan lasas kain. Nevertheless, since the prima gadim derech hachayim say that halacha you should be careful not to have a katan make it, so it is roi and nachan to do this. Upashat, it's pashat. The hakatan la'atzmai mutter lahatel tzitzis l'kulei. It's pashat that the katan himself, he's permitted to put on tzitzis according to everyone. Imra ki gia lechinuch, if he just reached the age of chinuch, shu mechuyav midrabanan b'mitzat tzitzis u'mikri bar levisha. Now, a katan for himself could put on tzitzis. If he reached the age of chinuch, so he's chayim mejaban on tzitzis, so he's considered for himself a bar levisha to be moitzi himself. V'yoyser nirali, it would seem to me more that afilu mikvar nasa gadol ben yod gimel shana, even if the gadol became 13, ein sarach lahatet tzitziyosa. Meaning, even if this person who made tzitzis when he was a katan turned 13, you don't have to remove the tzitzis. Already k'di'eved dami. Now it's like b'di'eved. Or b'di'eved ein lachash l'hala Rabbeinu Tam. B'di'eved we're not concerned for Rabbeinu Tam. V'chol zem yoidea ba'atzma she'yotiyam az lishma. This is all if you know that he did it lishma. Okay, Rabbi Isai, we will hold it over here. By the way, I think we skipped a day. We didn't do the end of Sif Beis. Sorry, we have to go back tomorrow. We have to do the end of Siman Yud Gimel. The end of Sif Beis. Yeah, from Sif Yud Daled and Tesvav. Yeah, we didn't do that. Because it's the end of the sim. Okay, we'll have to flip it tomorrow. Okay, shkayach. Kol tov, everyone. Be well.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.